to meet at 1100 hours on Tuesday, February 6, 2023.
On the show, the Adani row refuses to die down as both houses of the parliament were adjourned for the third day over opposition uproar. Agniveer recruitment to undergo changes. We tell you why online exams have been introduced for all aspirants from the future recruitment drives. In a bid to cap vehicular pollution in the national capital, Delhi is all set to implement stringent vehicle scrapping policy. More than 54 lakh vehicles to go off the road. An Indian eye drop is in the eye of a storm in the United States. Details coming right ahead. And a general who donned many hats. We tell you all about the love-hate relationship Pakistani Army General Pervez Musharraf had with India. This and more with a comprehensive view of India. Top Angle starts right here, right now. First, a development that is by far the biggest as far as achieving a historical milestone is concerned towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. These are the pictures of maiden landing of the light combat aircraft LCA Navy on board the INS Vikrant. Naval pilots carried out the landing, demonstrating India's capability to design, develop, construct and operate indigenous aircraft carriers with indigenous fighter aircraft. A red letter day for the defense forces in India indeed. Next up, Monday was no different from last week. Protest against the Adani group continued in both houses of the parliament. As soon as proceedings began, the two houses of the parliament were adjourned until 2 p.m. and then for the whole day. Well, after the House reconvened following a weekend break, opposition members marched to the well of the House. They shouted slogans and called for an investigation into the Adani group crisis. The House proceedings could not take place.
दिनांक 7 फरवरी 2023 को प्रातः 11 बजे तक के लिए स्थगित की जाती है.
Meanwhile, Rajya Sabha proceedings too were adjourned for the day, following protests by opposition demanding a JPC probe into the Adani case.
Adjourned to meet at 1100 hours on Tuesday, February 6, 2023.
लाखों करोड़ रुपए का भ्रष्टाचार हुआ है. जो हिंदुस्तान का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर कैप्चर किया गया है, उसके बारे में डिस्कशन हो और अदानी जी के पीछे कौन सी शक्ति है वो भी देश को पता लग जाए. थैंक यू.
Meanwhile, outside the parliament, across the country from Delhi to Jammu, Hyderabad to Patna, Congress conducted nationwide protest over the Hindenburg report against the Adani group. Recently, the opposition has asserted that common people are being financially harmed due to investments made by state-run entities like the LIC and the SBI in the conglomerate of billionaire Gautam Adani. Moving on, all potential Agniveers will now have to sit for an online exam before they are allowed to show up for the recruitment drives at any of the regimental centers across the country. Effective immediately, all candidates must first qualify in the computer-based online common entrance exam or the CEE before any other physical or medical assessment. Now, only those candidates who qualify in this online test will be eligible to come for the rallies. According to reports, quoting officials, the change will reduce administrative load and make managing potential candidates much easier. Last year, the army had seen major administrative hassles at these recruitment rallies due to massive swells of candidates who had shown up hoping to qualify under the Agnipath scheme. Here's how the Agnipath scheme is shaping up. 25,000 Agniveers under the Agnipath scheme have already begun their training. Among these, 19,000 Agniveers are training for the army. A total of 6,000 Agniveers are being trained for appropriate roles in the Air Force and the Navy. And the Navy's first batch also includes 341 women recruits. In March, another 21,000 are slated to join Army regimental centers. Now, registration for online applications for the CEE are to open later this month, and the exam itself will be conducted at around 200 locations in April for the 2023 and 2024 recruitment cycle. Next up, in a bid to cap vehicular pollution, Delhi is all set to implement its stringent vehicle scrapping policy. Very soon, vehicles that are older than the recommended time limit, which is over 10 years for diesel vehicles and more than 15 years old for petrol vehicles, will be confiscated. This means more than a whopping 54 lakh vehicles will go off roads in the national capital. Now, Delhi roads are often choked due to an inordinate amount of vehicles plying, especially during peak rush hours. The Delhi government has tried several options in the past: the red light on, Gadi off initiative, green vehicles for public transport like DTC buses and autos, just to name a few. Now, under the more stringent vehicle scrapping policy, vehicle owners are being encouraged to scrap their old vehicles now rather than later. Compensations are also being offered for the same. This includes all types of vehicles, diesel and petrol, small-sized or even the large ones, and of domestic and foreign make alike. India's vehicle scrapping policy, or the Voluntary Vehicle Fleet Modernization Program, came into effect from the 1st of April in the year 2022. And this is how the procedure is going to be carried out. First, a public notice will be published and an SMS will be sent on the mobiles of the concerned vehicle owners. After this, a campaign to confiscate the vehicles will commence. A special squad will go around different areas in Delhi to seize these old vehicles. The team will also be accompanied by a crane to lift the vehicle and a scrap dealer to pay for the cost of the vehicle. And as per official figures, till the 2nd of February this year, over 54 lakh vehicles in the national capital have completed their time period. Now, the scrappage policy aims at phasing out old and unfit vehicles and to help modernize the country's vehicle fleet. The new policy is set to help in the phasing out unfit and polluting vehicles. It is also supposed to help the economy grow, as the policy is seen to be beneficial to the auto sector in the country. Moving on, artificial eye drops, a product used by millions across the globe, has allegedly been proved fatal, apart from causing blindness. After the much disputed case of cough syrups that killed about 300 kids in Gambia and Uzbekistan, global pharmaceutical company, a Chennai-based firm, is now under scrutiny due to the production of a line of eye drops that might be responsible for fatal contamination. Care artificial tear drops. India's Central Drug Standard Control Organization has suspended the manufacturing of this particular pharmaceutical group. This was executed after the US FDA allegedly linked reports of permanent vision loss and one death from a bloodstream infection with the contaminated eye drops. Tamil Nadu's drug controller and the members of the Central Drug Control Authority acted swiftly after the Chennai-based pharmaceutical company was called out. The samples were identified from the batches that were sent to the United States, besides samples of raw materials that were used to make the batch. So what was it with the eye drop that brought up the United States red flags? The over-the-counter eye drop, Care artificial tears, has been linked to an outbreak of drug-resistant infection. The infection is resistant to most available antibiotics. Serious side effects include permanent vision loss, cornea infection, and severe eye diseases. 55 adverse reports of eye infection and permanent loss of vision have been reported. And one death has also been reported due to the bloodstream infection. Now, Care artificial tears is not in use in India. The authorities say there is no immediate panic in the country as of now. Next up, General Pervez Musharraf. Many know him as the man who designed and plotted against India, the man who was behind the Kargil war, and truly so, but the man who ruled Pakistan for nearly 7 years, but could not go back home in his final days. In the year 1999, Musharraf ordered a covert infiltration in Kargil district from March to May, which was soon discovered by India and led to a war between the two countries. Pakistan suffered heavily in the conflict, and Musharraf also experienced a great deal of difficulty. In February 1999, then Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee visited Lahore at the invitation of Sharif in an attempt to make progress in bilateral relations by signing the Lahore Declaration. However, shortly after, Pakistani troops in disguise as irregular fighters crossed the line of control in the Kargil sector, leading to a war between India and Pakistan. In July 2001, 2 years after the Kargil conflict, Pakistani President Pervez Musharraf accepted an invitation from Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee to meet in Agra, the city of the Taj Mahal. Despite high hopes for the summit, it ended abruptly due to Musharraf's grandstanding. After the 9/11 attacks by Al-Qaeda, Musharraf allied with the United States in the war on terror, leading to economic growth and the inflow of American aid for Pakistan. Later on, Pervez Musharraf visited India on several occasions, mainly to participate in media events. He had become a vocal critic of the successive Pakistani governments, and be it Imran Khan or Nawaz Sharif, he got little respite from any and was forced to live in exile until his death in Dubai. On that note, this is the end of this edition of Top Angle. Do check out incisive news analysis and cutting-edge documentaries streaming only on News 9+. Thanks for watching.